welcome to another week. Hope you all enjoyed last week's episode and found it as enjoyable and as really educational and enlightening as I did. Yet again, I would like to once again thank Sensei Mal McRae for allowing me that little time in his daytime to go through centering in the Aikido fashion. This week, we're going to be talking about getting out and about and goal setting. And when I talk about this, for myself, from my perspective, as always, after my breakdown, I probably spent a good nearly 2 months just inside my house, not wanting to go out, not wanting to talk to anyone, just kind of stick to my own area. Now, when I talk about this also, it kind of links into everything we've been discussing as well. So when I got to this stage and started getting out and about, my first day out and about was back at work. It was my very first shift back. And as you remember from last week's episode, I had to explain that situation where the shoplifter had the headphones, walked past, and I completely froze up. That's where I first found centering. Now, centering helped me in continuing to going out and about, because when that situation first happened, for me, my first instinct was just go back home. Just go back to my room where I felt safe, where I felt comfortable. And centering kind of helped in moving forward with that. Also, when I spoke about the concept of home and taking something from your home that meant something to you, that's something I'd done as well. And week 2, when we discussed the unhelpful thinking styles, when I came to start acknowledging those and started accepting those and assessing them and determining whether they were actually helpful and finding out that they weren't really, they're one of the things. So we'll slowly break it down. So for example, when I got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to get back out and about, unhelpful thinking styles held me back. So I started, jumping to a conclusion that I was like, I'm just going to go outside, and I was like, everyone's going to look at me differently. Everyone's going to think I'm going to need to have my hand held to get through everything. And that didn't help me. That didn't help me get out. So when I acknowledged that and when I recognized it and I was able to get away from it, I was able to take that step and say, okay, no, I need to get back to work. I need to start getting out again. So that was the first step for me. After my first day back, when I had the incident with the shoplifter, that's when I needed centering. And, I needed to get all that negative energy to my center and just let it go. So getting out and about was probably the best thing I'd done. And it's the greatest thing you could do. Like, you'll be at the stage for a while where you don't want to do it and you don't want to get out, and you've got to push yourself. Like, it's one of those things. You think to yourself, everyone comes up to you and says, "Come on, man, just come out and have a good night out." Or for all the girls out there, your friends say, just come have a movie night. Or come hang out and go shopping, go have a cup of coffee at a cafe place you feel comfortable with. And in your mind, you don't want to. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm actually, when I started writing up this episode and wanting to talk about the stage of getting out and about, I couldn't help but think of a good friend of mine. Her name's Flik, and she went through not a similar thing, but she does have her issues as well, as all of us do. But she was someone as well who needed to set herself some goals and get out and about and do them. And I thought, out of everyone in the world to talk to, she would is the best person to talk to about it, because she's still going through that journey. And so I'm actually at her place today, and I'm going to have a sit down and chat with her, and we're just going to discuss, for both of us, what kind of went through our minds when we got to that point where we wanted to just get out and do it. So we're here now, and I'm really excited because we've been friends for a very long time now, so it's going to be a bit more of a chill session and enjoyable video to do, and I hope you guys take a lot of things from it and start thinking about how you want to get out and about again. So, onwards. So here we are, guys. I'm here with my really good friend Flik. As I mentioned earlier, she was similar to me, got to a point in her life where she needed to start setting herself goals and getting out and about and actually doing it. And as I said, I wanted to kind of do the filming at her place because for us, we've known each other, as I said, for a very, very long time.
I think we're going on 10 years now.
Yeah,
10, 11
something like
years.
that. I
Yeah.
think it's quite a while.
So being in this room, it's for us, it's the most comfortable place we know. We've had so many nights, like, probably days even, of just chilling here, jamming, making music, having fun, making really ridiculously stupid rap music that we will never ever release to the public because it's never going to happen. And for both of us going through our own things, it was good for us because this room served as a purpose for us as well when we're going through it. And when we're going through our tough times, or so many times we've been here and just supported each other, and it's one of the great things to have. So if you are out there and you have got friends that you can rely and support on, use them. Like, that's what they're there for. So we're kind of here to talk about what we went through, and
Mhm.
for us, like for myself, it was getting out of my dark spot, and for you, it was moving towards being a better you. Really?
Yeah, pretty much. I reckon it definitely comes in stages with working on yourself. Everyone's different, of course, and you got to do what's right for you. But for myself personally, like for me, it was a couple of stages. Whether it was, I had to deal with my mental health, and then I had to deal with my physical health as well. Mental health was something that I was able to, kind of slowly start to work on first, just by going through life, as it can happen with most people. And the physical side with my weight and everything is something that had to basically be left up to the doctors. So I was able to get a bit of help with that. So that definitely was able to help. But also then later on, in saying that about mental health as well, is being able to go to a psychologist and everything like that definitely helps. And I couldn't recommend it enough, really, if you're in that spot. So
Yeah, definitely.
it's definitely in stages with working on yourself, I think.
Yeah. And I think, like, I don't know about you, but like for me, getting to that point of wanting to actually get out and do it, and just kind of trying to set up that first step where it's just like, you're like to yourself, you're like, I need to do this, but how the hell am I going to do this? And it's trying to, like, just find that first step you want to take. And for me, like, thankfully I had my wife who literally just kicked me in the ass and said, you need to get help. And probably without her, I probably would never have taken that first step. And I do appreciate, like, I will always appreciate her for that. But not everyone has a partner that can give them that push, and sometimes we need really ourselves and good motivation from within ourselves. So for me, my first step was seeing my GP and getting mental health plan going, and setting up processes with psychologists and therapists. And that was for my mental side of things, and that's always the first step, and the first step's always the hardest. I don't know about you, but for me it was terrifying.
Yes, no, it definitely was. It's not an easy thing to even accept, let alone try and get help for, with relation to anything, mental health, physical health, whatever it is, because at the end of the day, you've got to be the one to want to help yourself before you can make a change. Of course, outside influences are great, but you've kind of got to get that little spark from inside to kind of really cement it in place. At least I believe, anyway. I definitely am a big advocate for relying and helping. Like friends helping you, or partners, or family, or whoever it is. It depends who you kind of have that connection with. For you, it's your wife, and for me, it's friends as well as myself and my parents. So yeah, and then I got to that point where I was like, okay, it's time that I make a change, or I try my best to, even if I fail a million times. It's up to me now. Because at the end of the day, if no one wants to help himself, you can't really help them.
Yeah.
So it's got to come from within you. At least that's my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. And, like, I guess, like, for you, when you first started setting out, and, like, I know, like, so far you've lost 40 kilos?
42 kilos.
42 kilos. Well, there you go. So, like, you've done a tremendous effort, but like, one thing for me is, there were some blocks in the road, and like,
Absolutely.
I've touched on that in previous episodes, the blocks that I've run in. But, like, for you, when you were setting up the goals to move towards it, what were some of the things that you ran into?
So right in the beginning, I think before I even got put on a medical diet, which is what I'm on, I started about 9 months ago.
was just wrapping my head around what I was about to embark on, the journey I was about to embark on. I was afraid because I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought I was going to be disappointed and let down again. I didn't know if I had the inner strength and the willpower to go, because I'd never seen myself in that aspect of, going through something like this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's a common fear that a lot of people would have about anything in life, But yeah, that was definitely the biggest starting point. Was I was just terrified. Thought I couldn't do it. All the negative things, that come with mental health. And, I just really just was in that space, that headspace where I was like, it's not going to work. So overcoming my mind was the very big first step. And just not believing in myself at all.
Yeah.
So that was the first hurdle.
Yeah, which, to rewind, remember guys, episode 2, Unhelpful Thinking Styles. First challenge always is going to be the mind. It's the biggest killer. But I think we can both agree, once you get past that mind stage and you actually not even block it out, just learn to just overcome that hurdle, it does get a lot easier. And you'll find, especially for myself, is that once you take that first step and you get past that mental side of thinking everything's going to go wrong and nothing's going to work out, nothing's going to change, nothing's going to get better, and you see that first result, that tiny little thing that makes the whole difference. And for myself, it was actually going to sleep. Like, that was the first time I noticed something changed. I was able to actually sleep at night and actually woke up and had a decent amount of sleep where I didn't wake up. Like, I didn't get up in the middle of the night and have a panic attack. I didn't toss and turn. I didn't just stare at four walls until I finally just crashed. I actually slept. And for me, that was when I realized that I was on the right path. And it got to the point then where I had to start planning. And that's the biggest part of it all, is that, you've gotten out and about, you've taken the first step, but now you've got to kind of move into what are you going to do next? And for myself, my first step was, getting to the GP, getting the antidepressants, which I was on a very low dosage, thankfully, but planning was the biggest part of my journey. So once I got everything into place and done each thing individually and came across all the things we talked about in a previous episode, the concept of home, unhelpful thinking styles, and centering, combining all those while planning kind of helped me get to where I am now. And that's one of the most important things. And I'm sure you can say exactly the same thing, especially, you got to start there. And as always, guys, like Flik here has her own channel as well. So I will link it down the bottom as everything. Feel free to have a look. Like, seriously, it's phenomenal. Like, watching her first video from the first session she does to where she is now, to her last video where she had a bit of a fun rant and was fun to see, you can see the journey steps you can take, and you can actually see what she went through as well. But the parts you don't see are off camera, and that's what we're talking about today. And for you, I'm sure, there were a shit ton of hurdles. I mean, I remember the first time I spoke to you afterwards, and you were exhausted, you were tired, you felt crap.
Yeah.
Like, where did you go from there?
So yeah, in the beginning, with the weight loss journey, it was definitely something I'd never ever experienced before or felt before. Again, I'm sure everyone's different, but for me personally, because it's my personal experience with what I'm talking about, is that I had no energy before the diet, but I was running on fumes with what I was going through, and that coupled with my sleeping was again up and down, even though I'd always suffered with that. And just feeling like, going through the keto flu, which is basically where you just feel like you're dying pretty much. And trying to just find the willpower and the inner strength in that to just not give up, because all those reasons in itself would have been a very easy excuse to give up for anybody. But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, you've kind of got to hit a spot, find that light, like I said before, that what's important to you and what you're willing to just sacrifice yourself for and try and really just give it all you've got. Even if you fall down, you've just got to keep trying. And I guess that's what I had to do, was just be like, it'll get better. I'm going to keep going and just see what happens. I kind of took the approach where I I didn't give myself unrealistic expectations. And this is me personally. Some people work different. I don't give myself unrealistic expectations, especially in the beginning, because I just wasn't sure what was going to happen. So for me, I just thought I'm going to do my best. That's all I can ask of myself, because at the end of the day, it wasn't for anyone else. This life change, it was for myself. And that whatever happened, and I would go from there. So, that was definitely a very relaxed atmosphere, at least as relaxed as I could make it for myself anyway.
Yeah, exactly right. And to be honest, like, that's probably the biggest part as well and when you move forward and more onwards, one of the biggest things, especially, once you get through those first hurdles and you start setting the goals, and as Flik touched on, don't set an unrealistic expectation, be honest with yourself, be expecting to be hard. There's a saying out there, and I live by that saying. If the journey's hard, then the destination's worth it. And you combine that with, if you ever feel like quitting, just remember why you started in the first place. And they're words that reverb through my mind all the time. And especially when, you move forward, and like for both of us, we're still getting better. We're still moving towards it. No, it's a long journey. Like what are we in now? May? No, almost May. We're a day away. Close enough. We're in May. Who cares? April's been a bitch. Let's be honest. It's been temperamental with weather and everything. I don't think anyone out there will disagree with me. April's been weird. But I'm a year and a half later from my first breakdown, and there's still times where I get low and I don't want to do anything, and Flik's still going through her weight loss journey as well, and that's why Link, go check it out, it's worth it. But we're both still going through it, and I think for us and for everyone out there, biggest thing I can say is, once you're comfortable in where you're going, and once you're settled into your routine, start building your support pyramid. That's one of the biggest things you got to have. And with mental health, physical health, the biggest thing is exercise. Like, you hear your doctor say it, and my first reaction, you're just like, no! Like, I walked to the fridge, come on, I did my exercise. But you don't realize how good it actually is. And one of the things that we both do, like Flik started before me, is go to the gym, get a membership, sign up. And we're both members of our local gym, Anytime Fitness, which I also will link down there because they're a fantastic group. But for Flik, like, I'll let you talk in a sec.
Yep.
But when you join by yourself, it's just you. And it's your motivation to go. It's your willingness to go. And if you don't want to go, you don't go. But if you got friends there, and they're like, hey man, you're going to the gym tonight, and you're like, no, I really don't feel like it. And then they turn around and like, come on man, let's go. You want to go. And it's great to have that kind of, as I said, pyramid of friendship and support pillars. And I think that plays a vital role in actually continually to try and help yourself. Like, I think there's, 6 of us that go now?
I think so, yeah, something like that. Yeah,
You,
6,
me, Brian, Emily. Yeah, about 6 of us that go now.
Yeah.
So, like, if one of us isn't in the mood, there's going to be at least 5 that might go. And for the better part of it, we're generally all there at the same time. We're all there at the same time, and it works out, and we support each other, and none of us are there to outdo each other. We're just there to get better. And whether it's mental health, for physical health, or just we had a really cunt of a day and we just need to let out some steam. Like, it's been probably the greatest thing I've signed up to. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the gym was always something that terrified me, as I'm sure most people, because, you just think people are going to judge you, and you think people are going to mock you or stare at you or whatever, or you just think it's not for you, or you don't think you could even do anything like that. But for me personally, when I again got that little spark of light, and I started to feel a lot more energy on the diet, and I started to feel a lot more better, I was like, this is something I want to do. And for me, personally, taking the first step was being comfortable with myself. I didn't really tell anyone about it. It was just something I had to process on my own. And then when I felt comfortable, I went down and did it and joined up and everything. And for me personally, I needed to go on my own for a while first to see that I was okay and how my anxiety would deal, because when one of the biggest things with anxiety is avoidance. If you avoid things, it's going to get worse. And so whenever I can, even if it might seem very small or insignificant to others, but for me it's a big deal, or I know it's a hurdle that I have conquered or something, I do it. So going to the gym, even if it was just for half an hour first on my own, was such a big step that I learnt to be proud of, because I never ever thought I would end up going to gym. So that was something that was such a big thing that kind of cemented and gave me the first starting block to the whole journey. And then being comfortable thinking, I would be comfortable and love to go with some friends now, or it'd be cool if someone else could come with me, every now and then. Not that I needed them to go, because I knew I could go on my own, but it was just nice every now and then to have someone to go with, even, and it had nothing about me thinking they needed to lose weight. I'm not judgmental. I love everyone for whoever they are. At the end of the day, they've got to be happy with who they are, and if they are, then that's all I want for them is happiness. So it's just nice to have company sometimes. And like you said, if you're not feeling great, personally, I did, especially in the beginning, I would just push myself, even though my body was hating me. I would go, regardless. But not everyone has that. Some people need that push. Some people need the PT. Some people need lots of things to help. And definitely, there has been moments later on where I might not have particularly wanted to go, not because I didn't want to work out, but I don't know, I was feeling kind of bleh, and then someone's like, oh, you going to gym? And then I'd just be like, oh yeah, sweet, let's go, So it's just something so simple, and that, I guess you've got to look at it in a different light. Don't look at it as they're going to judge you, like they're your friend, and they shouldn't judge you. They're going there to just do what they're doing. And most people, what I've learned as well, is they're not looking at you. They focus on themselves. They're focusing on their reps and their sets and their routine and whatever it is. And that is the biggest thing, that once I realized that no one cares. And if anyone was looking at me, I had to learn to stop thinking negative things, even though that's very hard, and just think, they're looking at you, they're like, good on you. Because when I have spoken to some people, that has generally been the consensus that I've gotten, is that people are like, good on you for, getting up, you're lapping anyone else that's on the couch or whatever. So, and then at the end of the day, you just stop thinking about that stuff. And you're excited to be there. And if you're having a shit day, or even if you're not having a shit day, it's a good excuse to go to gym, because once the endorphins get going, you feel great 10 minutes later.
And everything's fantastic. And when you lift a weight heavier than what you lifted before, you just like...
PBs, personal bests.
Exactly. And to be honest, I think we definitely both agree, when you've got a gym manager like ours, who is incredibly supportive in on his own fact. So Corey, if you are watching this, man, legend. We love you. So it's realistically, as you've seen with us, there's stages that you go through when you want to finally start getting better and getting out there. And, as we touched on, the first stage is getting out of your head. Second stage is setting the goals for you to do it. Third stage is getting your support network that's going to help you keep going. You may not want it, you may not think you don't need it, but it's honestly, even if you are like Flik here, who can do this on her own, it's good to have that for days where you don't feel it.
Yes.
Like when you get your downs, but it's good to have that there. And finally, it's just continuing. Wash, rinse, repeat like shampoo. Put it in, give it a wash, rinse, repeat it, give yourself that nice, beautiful sunset look. We all love it. Couldn't help it. Had to do it. Anyway, guys, look, we've touched on it. I hope you have taken something from it. And for those of you now who actually are in that stage, who are getting to the point where you want to get out and about and start doing things, I hope this has helped you. But now for us, it's time for us to have one of our regular chill sessions, which of course requires one of these bad boys. So we're going to go have a bit of fun now. And as always, guys, don't forget, Rome wasn't built in a day.
And it wasn't built
sitting still.
Sitting still.
Good enough. Take care, guys. We all love yous.